What's going on, family? This is Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. I want to take a look at a few Joe Gans today. We're going to look at Joey Hicks, Allentown Joe Gans right now. Born May 6, 1894 in Portsmouth, Virginia. He died August 12, 1953 in Manhattan, New York. He stood 5 foot 9.5 inches and weighed 155 to 165 pounds. He was managed by Al Giannetti. Now, in 1922, Allentown Joe Gans took newspaper decisions over two African-American fighters. They were welterweights, Sandy Taylor and Joe Libby. In 1923, two more newspaper decision wins over Larry Estridge and Jack McVeigh. Very good fighters. Both African-American fighters. Jack McVeigh was a colored middleweight champion, and Larry Estridge was an outstanding fighter, but unfortunately for him, his management didn't move him around correctly. They put him in against fighters, different weight divisions. And he has a few losses that he shouldn't have on his career. But Larry Estridge was a very good fighter. He suffered losses to Roland Todd and Dave Shade. Very good fighters in their own right. He sparred in 1927 with Jack Dempsey in preparation for Jack Sharkey. Jack Dempsey had lost to Gene Tunney in 1926 in Soldier Field, and he was having a comeback fight with Jack Sharkey. And that fight was controversial because Jack Sharkey had turned a moment and complaining about a thumb in the eye. Jack Dempsey hit him low. And when Jack Sharkey complained about that, Jack Dempsey had hit him right on the chin with a left hook. And they counted Jack Sharkey out, and it was carrying Jack Sharkey to the corner. Jack Sharkey was still holding his midsection. But Jack Dempsey was rewarded the decision. But that Jack Dempsey fight that was scheduled with Harry Wills, it was already contracted, went out the window when Harry Wills faced Louis Angel Firpo. And there was no way, after Harry Wills had handled Firpo with no problem, and Allentown Joe Gans had handled Jack Dempsey in sparring with no problem, was Jack Dempsey going to give an African-American fighter a title shot? So there went the opportunity for Harry Wills. Allentown Joe Gans sparred with Tiger Flowers in Grand Rapids. Tiger Flowers later on said, "This is not the same fighter that I was in a ring with in 1921. Allentown Joe Gans was that good." That Tiger Flowers sparring session was prepared Tiger Flowers for the 1926 middleweight championship title opportunity against Harry Greb. And Tiger Flowers took the title away from Harry Greb in 1926. Allentown Joe Gans would fight Jack Delaney, who would be champion. He would fight Harry Greb himself, and he would lose to Harry Greb in 10 rounds. Many questioned that decision. This was 1925, May 26. He would lose 10 rounds to Jack Delaney. November 11th, he would lose 6 rounds to Maxie Rosenblum. He would have a 10-round draw with Jock Malone. Jock Malone was another good fighter. October 4th, he fought Walcott Langford and lost him on a foul in 4 rounds. 1926, June 15th, he fought Harry Greb and lost to him in 10 rounds. Fascinating fighter was Allentown Joe Gans, and I will be placing him in my Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series because of the opponents he fought, the time in which he fought, how he handled himself. He was an outstanding fighter. Salute to Joey Hicks. I just want to quickly show you Jack McVeigh, fascinating middleweight. He held the African American or colored champion in the middleweight division. Fascinating fighter from Georgia. Jack McVeigh, fascinating fighter. He was Allentown Joe Gans's opponent. And I just wanted to show you Larry Estridge as well. Another Allentown Joe Gans opponent. Fascinating fighter. We're going to take a look at Cyril Quentin, Panama Joe Gans. Panama Joe Gans was born November 14th, 1896 on Barbados, West Indies, the British West Indies. He died June 28th, 1968 in New York, Lower Manhattan. He stood 5 foot 9.5 and weighed 135 to 160 pounds. He was managed by Leo Penn Flynn. Leo Penn Flynn was the same manager that managed Dixie Kid. I did a profile on Dixie Kid. Type in Dixie Kid, Scrapbook Boxing, if you want to learn more about Dixie Kid. Fascinating fighter himself. Now, Panama Joe Gans fought fighters such as Lulu Kid. Zulu Kid was a fascinating fighter. Kid Carroll, Young Battling Nelson, Young Sam Langford, Larry Estridge. I just showed you Larry Estridge. Jeff Smith, Jamaica Kid. Jeff Smith, fascinating middleweight out of New Jersey. He had a 6-round knockout over Kid Murray. 6-round knockout over young Sam Langford. He was signed to fight Canadian middleweight and future light heavyweight champion Mike Mateague. But the fight fell through. But he did fight Mike Mateague with a non-title fight. He sparred with many fighters that never gave him a title shot. He would be found in Grubb's Gym on 116th Street in Harlem with his stablemate Kid Norford and with Harry Wells. They would talk about the future of Joe Louis. He himself was sparred with Tiger Flowers, Mike O'Dowd, Mike Mateague, many others. He was a dynamic fighter. Salute to Panama Joe Gans. He himself will be placed in the Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. Again, for in time in which he fought, the fighters he fought, the victories he had, and the amount of fights that he had. Fascinating fighter. Salute to Panama Joe Gans. Now right now I'm showing you one of my scrapbooks here. This one's titled The Greatest Fighters I Ever Saw. And I have about 20 books in a series of this. These are all African American fighters. It's about 350 pages per book. In addition to this, I have a Police Gazette African American book. All fighters, all black fighters, 1,000 pages. So I have basically the majority African American fighters that ever fought. Lucky me. But right now we're talking about Baby Joe Gans. Baby Joe Gans was Gerald Slaughter. He weighed 135 to 140 pounds and stood 5 foot 6 inches. He was born December 4th, 1899, El Paso, Texas. He died May 6, 1970 in Los Angeles, California. 1922, June 21st, he fought Kid Williams. Kid Williams would be champion. Los Angeles, California. 4-round victory for Baby Joe Gans. 1935, October, he fought Al Hastacker. That would be his last fight. Seattle, Washington. Al Hastacker would be middleweight champion. Lost to him in 8 rounds. Now he would fight Barney Ross and Seferino Garcia and Freddie Steele. And Barney Ross would sign a contract that his title would not be at stake when he fought Baby Joe Gans, because he knew the ability of Baby Joe Gans. And he watched Baby Joe Gans destroy Sammy Mandel in sparring. Almost put him in a hospital. So it was very difficult for Baby Joe Gans to get a title shot at that point. Cyclone Johnny Thompson. Ray Miller. Ray Miller was a good lightweight. Had his good fights with Ruby Goldstein, Ate Huskins, and many others. He would face Jimmy Clabby, young Sam Langford, Alex Hart, Mushy Callahan. Mushy Callahan was a very good fighter. He would become champion as well. Jimmy Goodwrench would become lightweight champion. Dobie Bearcat, Tommy Doran, Alex Felix, Cubby DeMarks, Tony Voxell, Annie David, Sammy Baker, Bucky Lawless, Eddie Murdoch, Joe Glick, Eddie Kid Wolf, just to name a few. Here we have Baby Joe Gans. Fascinating fighter. For 8 years straight, he was ranked in a Ring magazine as #1 welterweight for 8 straight years. Phenomenal. He earned a draw with welterweight champion Lou Burlard because he defeated Lou Burlard and they couldn't let that happen. In the contract of Lou Burlard, also non-title fight. Disclosure. On December 15th, 1931, it was a non-title match. Most observers thought that Baby Joe Gans won the fight. Both Barney Ross and Lou Burlard insisted that the only way they would face Baby Joe Gans would be for a non-title fight. On July 12, 1932, Baby Joe Gans and Joey Harrison were involved in a telling scandal in Passaic. Gans was supported, and he was supposed to take a dive. And he didn't take the dive because of the pride, and he defeated Joey Harrison. The mob walked into the ring at the end of the rounds and threatened to strong-arm him. So Baby Joe Gans came forward with the commission and told the truth. On July 30th, 1932, Joey Harrison and Baby Joe Gans were suspended. This is what the African-American fighters had to go through. Here I have an autographed picture of Baby Joe Gans, one of the greatest fighters of all times. Salute to the Gans. Baby Joe Gans, Panama Joe Gans, Allentown Joe Gans. This is Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. Thanks for hanging in there with me. I will be covering some more Joe Gans tomorrow. Salute to my subscribers. Peace.